Hey guys, welcome back. So as you guys just saw, we've done it guys. We have unlocked all of the rewards from the final research challenge for Blanche. We have unlocked all the Stardust bonuses, which those are going to be running from August 13th through August 19th. So we're going to be having that Stardust 3 times catch Stardust, 3 times hatch Stardust, 3,000 Stardust per raid. So and then 1 hour star pieces. So definitely fantastic. I'm pretty excited about that because it's going to be pretty much that time to grind Stardust. But and of course, as you guys know me by now, for those of you who have been following me for a while, you guys know that in this video we're going to be covering this part of the bonus in which we're going to be talking about Suicune. So we've already done Raikou and Entei, so it's only fair that we do the final of the 3 beasts here. So in addition to the Stardust bonuses that we've unlocked, we've also unlocked Suicune Raid Day, which is going to be happening August 17th, which the time is yet to be announced. So as far as the time is concerned, I'm not sure what Niantic's going to do in terms of the time. Maybe they'll have Suicune running. Maybe they'll have this day running from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. rather than the 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. from before. Because if you guys don't know, we have Turtwig Community Day, which is going to be happening at a new time, which is going to be 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Which, if you guys want my quick thoughts on that, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, granted, we have to wake up a little earlier. I mean, it's just a bit more of an earlier commute, but I think it's cool. But I'll give you guys my full thoughts on that in another video. But anyways, today we're going to be talking about Suicune and what we're going to do in order to prepare for Suicune, because we have unlocked everything. Suicune Day is going to be happening August 17th. So pretty exciting stuff. And then after this is all set and done, we have a bonus special raid happening pretty soon, which is going to be announced in due time. So stay tuned for that. If you guys actually check out Pokey AK's video, he actually made a video talking about possibilities that may actually be coming through. So I urge you guys to check that out. I'll put the link in the description so you guys can go ahead and check that out. He does have some pretty good initial thoughts, and I checked the video myself, and he's definitely spot on some option stuff there, regarding to what that bonus raid is going to be, as well as the new potential EX raid and all that stuff. So check that out if you guys are interested. And without further ado, let's hop on GoHub and let's go ahead and talk about Suicune. So, Suicune with a max CP of 2,983. Suicune's a pure water type, and it has an attack of 180, defense 235, and stamina 225. So, looking at the stats, Suicune unfortunately is not going to be performing well at all in terms of raids. It's definitely not doing fantastic on the attack, but in PvP it may actually be decent. I think I've used Suicune sometime myself in PvP, and it's actually not that bad. But in raids, there are definitely a lot better water types. Like obviously, Kyogre being the #1 water type. And then you have for Alligator, you have Swampert, the new Swampert with the Hydro Cannon. That's actually doing even better than this. But Suicune does have some pretty decent bulk. So let's go ahead and talk about it anyway. So weaknesses is going to be weak to electric and grass, and resisting fire, ice, steel, and water. So pretty decent, really cool resistances there. With a defense of 235, it's slightly more tankier than Kyogre. But if I'm not mistaken, Kyogre does have more stamina? No, Suicune definitely has more stamina than Kyogre. So Suicune is more tanky, slightly tankier than Kyogre, not by a margin. It's only tankier by like, I don't know, 7 points I think. So, but anyway, let's go into the moves here so we can talk about Suicune here. So Suicune here actually has access to some interesting moves. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about this here. So quick moves, it has extrasensory and snarl. It doesn't have a water type quick move, which severely hinders its usability for sure. In raids, that is. But in PvP, I think Suicune's pretty good in the Ultra League, especially with Snarl being able to do well against Pokemon like, for example, Giratina being actually one of the best Pokemon in the Ultra League, and Snarl can also do well against Armor Mewtwo as well, being super effective. So, and then charge moves, it has Hydro Pump, Ice Beam, Bubble Beam, and Water Pulse. So before, when Suicune was around, it had access to only the water type moves, but with the move balance there, it gained access to Ice Beam, giving it some coverage against those grass types. So Suicune gets access to Ice Beam, which is pretty cool. And legacy moves, it actually, before, when Suicune was in raids, if you were able to get Suicune from raids, it was able to learn Hidden Power, which it was pretty much the only way that Suicune had access to a water type Hidden Power, which fortunately for myself, I actually do have a legacy Suicune is with Hidden Power Water. I sometimes use it for fun. Fun fact, I actually did use it during Entei Day. It didn't really do well at all, but it was pretty tanky, so it was able to stay in the fight quite some time, so just for fun, really. But aside from that, unfortunately, it's just not looking too good for Suicune. I wouldn't invest in Suicune at all, personally. However, if you are one that does PvP like myself, if you guys think Suicune's decent, I say I think Suicune's pretty good. Powered up to if you're looking for one for PvP, I think Suicune's pretty good in PvP. In raids, not so much. Raikou and Entei are far better, for sure. And I got a message from one of my boys. There you go. I'll check that out later. But yeah, Suicune is not. It doesn't do well in raids, but where it does, I think it does have potential in PvP. I think it's decent. It's not the best, but it's decent. I think it's pretty. It's fun to. It's a Pokemon to mess around with in in PvP, especially with Snore, Ice Beam. With that combination moves, it can definitely do pretty well against. I think it's gonna do decent against Giratina at least. It can counter Giratina with that move combination. That's just me personally, but I don't think other than that, it's just not that great. You have much better water types that you can use for sure. But anyways, let's go ahead and go into a raid guide and talk about Pokemon we can use against Suicune. So just so we can get you guys prepared for this final legendary beast. Alright guys, so we're here on the GoHub raid guide featuring the final of the 3 legendary beasts, Suicune. So Suicune's raid ball CP is going to be 37,761, and the 100% IV that we're going to be looking for Suicune Day is going to be 1704, and that's without a weather boost. So level 20 perfect IV is going to be 1704. If you happen to have rainy weather, which is the only weather that will boost it, you're going to be looking for 2130. So 2130 if it's boosted. Otherwise, you're going to be looking for 1704. So before we go any further, I just want to showcase that this graph doesn't look that great. So just wanted to showcase this thing real quick and just so you guys can get an idea of how of the IVs on on Suicune here. So I'm actually gonna go on Pokemon Go actually, and we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you guys some Pokemon you will definitely want to use against Suicune. Alright guys, so we're here on Pokemon Go. I'm on here on my Pokemon here, and these are all the grass and electric types that I have listed here. The reason why we're doing this is because the graph doesn't look as organized, so it looks like GoHub has yet to update the graph. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and scroll through all the grass and electric type Pokemon, and we're going to talk a little bit more about Pokemon that you want to use against Suicune. So just a reminder, Suicune is only a water type, and it's only going to be weak to grass and electric. So definitely want to go ahead and use your grass and electric type Pokemon. I guess if you don't have any other alternatives, you can also use a Dragonite, but I would prefer, you would definitely want to use your electric and grass types because you definitely want to be super effective on it for sure. So yeah, so first and foremost, one of the best counters that you're going to be wanting to use against Suicune is in fact going to be, of course, this beast right here, Raikou. With Thunder Shock and Wild Charge, it's going to be one of the best counters against Suicune, with being able to get off a lot of hits and being able to actually perform pretty well with that electric type moveset. So you definitely want the Thunder Shock Wild Charge on Raikou. If you don't have Raikou, another a fantastic option could also be Electivire. We're gonna go on our electric types first before we go into the grass types here. So Electivire is going to be your bet. It's going to be another great option here with Thunder Shock Wild Charge. It's actually going to be putting out a little bit more damage than Raikou, but what's different between the two is that Raikou actually has more defensive, a bit more defensive, which if you guys know this from now, but Electivire and Raikou are going to be your #1 choices against Suicune, putting out the most damage for sure. You can also use Zapdos with. You can also use Zapdos here with Thunder Shock Thunderbolt. This one obviously does not have that. This is an old Zapdos I powered up, but if you use Zapdos, you definitely want to use the Thundershock Thunderbolt set. But if you use Zapdos, you have to watch out for Ice Beam. Suicune does get access to Ice Beam, which will be super effective on your Zapdos for sure. Magnezone is another fantastic choice. Here you definitely want Magnezone with Spark and Wild Charge. It actually does resist the Ice Beam, resist Extra Sensory as well, being part Steel type. So being part Steel, it'll be able to resist Extra Sensory and Ice Beam, being neutral to the Water type moves. But Bubble Beam and Water Pulse won't do that much damage, but I think the one that's going to be doing the most consistent damage for sure is going to be the Hydro Pump variant from Suicune. So Raikou, Electivire, and Magnezone are going to be some of the best electric type Pokemon you can use as well. We're going to scroll down here a little bit more. You don't want to use Alolan Golem because while it is part electric, it's going to be also part rock, so it's going to be weak to that water type. So you definitely want to stay away from using the golems for sure, unless that's all you are able to use. Then if that's all you have, then you want to use Volt Switch and Wild Charge, since those are the only electric type moves it gets. But if you have other options, I would recommend using those, because Golem's not going to be good at all, especially since it's going to be weak to those water type moves. Next up, we have Jolteon here with Thundershock Thunderbolt, another good choice. Another strong choice versus Suicune. Just keep in mind it is a little bit more on the glassy side, so keep that in mind. But other than that, Jolteon's not that bad. I'm just going to scroll down here a little bit more. We have Ampharos with the Charge Beam and Zap Cannon moveset here. Another pretty solid option for sure. It also gets Volt Switch, but you definitely may want to opt for you definitely want Charge Beam over Volt Switch, because Charge Beam will get your move going a little bit quicker. It's not the best, but it's definitely far better than Volt Switch, because Volt Switch in general is just pretty terrible. You can also use Manectric with the Charge Beam and Wall Charge. It does get that moveset. But yeah, those are some of the better electric type Pokemon you can use. You can also use Raichu with Spark and Wall Charge. You could also, I think Alolan Raichu will actually perform a little bit better than the Kanto Raichu, because it is part Psychic and it will resist the Extra Sensory, but at the same time it will be weak to that Snarl. So do keep that in mind. But that's gonna be it for the good electric type. These are just some of the other electric types that you can use for sure. The mainly Raichu you can also go with as well. You can also use Luxray with Spark and Wild Charge as well. Luxray is not a bad option either. So if you happen to have Shiny Luxray with Spark and Wild Charge, well, there you go. You can also go ahead and rock with that. It's actually not a bad choice for sure. So, but in terms of electric types, the best ones for sure you're going to want to use is, of course, Raikou, Magnezone, Electivire, and the Jolteon. Well, the top three, I'm going to say, it's going to be Raikou, Magnezone, and Electivire. Some other good electric type options you can go with is Zapdos. Just have to watch out for Ice Beam. Jolteon. Actually, Jolteon actually will be the cheapest electric type you can go with. Reason why is obviously because it only takes you 25 rare candies to evolve an Eevee into a Jolteon. So do keep that in mind. Jolteon will be the cheapest electric type you can invest in. If you don't have the top three contenders, Jolteon will be a pretty solid choice for sure. So do keep that in mind. So those are your electric types that you want to use for sure. Now we're going to go ahead and talk more about the grass types. Now the number one grass type that I think you're going to want to use against Suicune is going to, well, of course, be this little one right here. This little rose right here with Razor Leaf and Grass Knot. So do keep in mind though, if Suicune does have Ice Beam alongside the Extra Sensory, it's going to be doing a lot of damage to Rose right here. Extra Sensory being Psychic, which is going to be super effective on the Poison type. You definitely have to watch out for that Extra Sensory if you're using Roserade. Same goes for Venusaur, which Venusaur is another Pokemon, which we're going to talk about that in just a second. Both Roserade and Venusaur are grass and poison, so I would be careful when you're using those, especially if Suicune does have Ice Beam, which will be super effective on the grass types, in that case you may want to opt for your electric types a little bit more. But if Suicune has the water type moves, then you're going to be fine. Even if the Suicune has Extra Sensory, if it has a water type move, you should be okay. You should be able to last decently well in the battle. But you just have to watch out for the Ice Beam majorly, especially with the grass types. You have to watch out for those for that Ice Beam for sure. And then of course, like I mentioned, Venusaur with Frenzy Plant is going to be fantastic for sure. If you don't have Frenzy Plant, you can also opt for Solar Beam. Solar Beam will do just as well. And then you also have Sceptile. The top three grass type Pokemon I think personally are going to be fantastic. Going to be Roserade, Venusaur with Frenzy Plant, and Sceptile with Frenzy Plant. Obviously there are some other ice types that are going to perform. I mean, I said ice types, grass types. Sorry, that's going to be doing pretty well as well. But those are the top three for sure. And you definitely want Frenzy Plant on Venusaur and Sceptile for sure. If you don't have access to those, then if you have Roserates, I will urge you guys to use those, since Roserade will be putting out the most damage from the grass type side of things for sure. Otherwise, if you don't have those, you may want to opt for some more electric types, like Magnezone will be pretty good. But you have to watch out. You have to be sure you're gonna have to need some Sinnoh to get some Magnezone here for sure. Torterra is not a bad choice with Razor Leaf and Solar Beam, but you definitely 100% have to watch out for Ice Beam, since Torterra will be taking 2 times the damage, being grass and ground type. So you have to watch out for that. The cheapest grass type that you can actually get, and I see cheapest because it takes the least amount of resources to get, will actually be Leafeon here. Leafeon with the Razor Leaf Solar Beam would actually be a pretty good. It's actually the cheapest option you have. Um, Again, just like Jolteon, it's only going to take you 25 candies to evolve into Leafeon, and the only thing is that you do need to you have to be in range of a Mossy Lord in order to get Leafeon. But you can use the name trick. Just put in I believe is I forgot the name of the trick. I forgot the name on the top of my head. I don't know why I forgot the name. But there's a name trick in which you use the name trick and you can evolve Leafeon, Eevee, sorry, into Leafeon. Wow, I'm messing up my words today. But yeah, but Leafeon is definitely going to be the cheapest option in terms of Pokemon you can get access to, because Leafeon only needs 25 candies. So if you don't have the top contenders, you can also use Leaf. You could just go with Leafeon, you'll be fine. Leafeon with Razor Leaf Solar Beam will actually be doing pretty decently well for sure. It's not the best grass type, but it's most certainly not the worst. And then next up we have Breloom not this moveset for sure. Breloom with Bullet Seed and Grass Knot is also not a bad choice. Grass Knot was available to Breloom during the Hoenn event earlier this year pretty much. So definitely, if you have those, you can use those. But Breloom has to watch out for Extra Sensory and Ice Beam, especially Ice Beam. I don't think Extra Sensory is going to be that much. I mean, I feel like I definitely emphasize to be wary of Ice Beam a little bit too much. But the reason why I say is because the grass types are going to be weak to the Ice Beam. Though Suicune won't be doing as much damage because its attack is pretty low, you still do have to watch out for the Ice Beam being super effective to your grass types. So you just have to watch out for that. Now, another grass type Pokemon that you can also use that's also part ice here is, of course, a Bulbasaur. Now, a Bulbasaur here with Razor Leaf and Energy Ball. One person I actually ran into locally actually was mentioning the Bulbasaur, and it's actually not a bad choice because it is actually the only grass type that is actually neutral to Ice Beam. So a Bulbasaur will actually be fairly decent. If you don't have any other options, you can always use this, and you'll be okay. Especially versus Ice Beam, you'll be neutral to Ice Beam and then resisting all three of the water type moves that Suicune has. And then Extra Sensory Snarl, you'll be neutral to both of those attacks. So those will be pretty good. And then we have Victory Bell with Razor Leaf and Leaf Blade. Not a bad choice. You just have to watch out for that Extra Sensory Ice Beam combination. So, and then we have Shiftry with the Razor Leaf and Leaf Blade. I believe those are the moves it gets. Actually, it's going to be taking very little damage from the Extra Sensory being part Dark type, and resisting the Snarl being part Dark as well, but still has to watch out for the Ice Beam. And then we have Ludicolo, which is actually grass and water. That's actually not a bad option either. So the reason why we're going to talk about this one right here is because Ludicolo here is going to be part water and grass. So you're going to be taking 50% less damage from the water type moves, and you actually lose the weakness to ice with that water typing. So because you have that you are losing that weakness to ice, Ludicolo is actually not a bad choice, especially as a cheap option against Suicune for sure. If you don't have the top contenders, Ludicolo is not a bad option at all with Razor Leaf and Solar Beam. Being able to stay in the fight pretty decently long, especially if it has if the Suicune has water type moves, you'll be double resisting those moves, being water and grass. So do keep that in mind. Ludicolo is not a bad option for sure. So And now I'm gonna scroll back up all the way back up here because there's actually a Pokemon we want to talk about for sure. In addition, you can also use Exeggutor. I actually don't have regular Exeggutors. I traded those away. I don't know why, but I still have a Alolan Exeggutor. Now the thing with Alolan Exeggutor is I've used this before against Kyogre and it puts in so much work. So Alolan Exeggutor here, actually a pretty good choice again, very good choice actually against Suicune. Being Grass and Dragon, you'll be double resisting the Water type moves, but you do have to watch out for that Ice Beam. You're gonna be quad weight to that Ice Beam, being Grass and Dragon. So if you do use Alolan Exeggutor, you do have to be careful for that Ice Beam. It's going to be putting in a lot of work. It's going to be doing a lot of damage. But if Suicune has any of the Water type moves, then it's going to be double resisting, and you're gonna be surviving pretty well for quite a long time. And then you also have the Kanto Exeggutor, which is Grass and Psychic type. It doesn't have the double resistance to the Water type moves, but it still does have that it does resist water, but you just have to watch out for the Ice Beam again. The Kanto Exeggutor does resist the extra sensory, but you have to watch out for the Snarl, which Snarl will be super effective on your Exeggutor for sure. I mean, a little heads up regarding that one for sure. But yeah, there you go, guys. These are just some of the other Pokemon that you can also use if you don't have the other top contenders. Now, if there are Pokemon, if you don't have the top contenders, I say the most efficient Pokemon you can use to actually be able to put out damage would be Jolteon, because again, Jolteon and Leafeon will cost you only 25 candies to evolve those the EV into those evolutions for sure. Ludicolo is not a bad choice either for sure. And then of course you also have of course some of the options there as well. And then of course Sceptile and all that fun stuff. But anyways, that's gonna be it for this little raid guide. I do apologize for this video being super long, but I wanted to just showcase these Pokemon a little bit more here because with the graph looking a little bit unorganized at the moment, I figure I'll just showcase my Pokemon, my Grass and Electric types, just so you guys get an idea of what you want to use against Suicune. So yeah, that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Suicune may not be the best legendary beast out of the three, but I still urge you guys to do as many as you can for that Stardust, because it's gonna be running with that Stardust bonus as well. So definitely want to take full advantage of that. I for sure will be doing a lot of those raids, just so I could just to do some raids to get the Stardust, to get some stuff there for sure. But yeah, there you have it, guys. I do apologize again for this video being super long, but I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe, and comment. Let me know if you guys are excited for Shiny Suicune. We have the final of the 3 legendary beasts. So I will see you guys next time. Take care.